This is a video to continue our practice on making models with percents. So we're going to do some of these together, and some of them we're just going to set up the model and not even solve them because I know you can do this problem solving part. I think the harder part is setting up the problem. So we're going to spend the majority of our time making sure you have the model set up correctly, and then if you want to go back and solve them, you can. But as long as you have it set up correctly, I think you'll be able to problem solve on your own. So our job today is to draw a model to solve each problem. We want to make sure we read the problem first, write an answer statement, think about who or what the problem is about, take some notes, draw a model, and finally solve. So for number one, if we don't have any context and it just says 16 is 25% of what number? So think about 16. Is that part of the number or the whole number? Hopefully you said part of the number because 16 is only 25%. And remember, we use percentages like fractions and decimals to name a part of a whole. So what we need to find out is the whole. So the model we would use to set up for 25%. And if you're not good at these yet, then you have your math notebook out and you're looking at the notes page that has our models on it. It's this page right here. The goal would be to eventually have these just pop into your head as you see 25, 50%, or 75%. You would immediately see a 4 grid. Anything that's a multiple of 20, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100 would be the 5 grid. Your 10, 30, 70, 90s would be the 10 grid. Anything that ends in a 5 and we haven't already covered would be this 20 grid. And then finally, anything that doesn't end in a 5 or 0 would be that hundreds grid. So eventually we need to get away from this, but if you're not quite there, use it as a resource. And the goal is the more we practice, the more automatic you'll become with those. So when we look at 25%, get my camera back here. 25% is 1/4, so it makes sense that we would use the quarter model of 4 boxes. So we're looking for the total, what number, so we're looking for this out here. 16 is 25% of it, so it's part of it. 25, 50, 75, 100. So this is 25%, which is also our 16. So then hopefully you would be able to solve from there to be able to get to that end there. So if you have time when we're finished, go ahead and solve those. For number 2, 45 is 60% of what number? Again, is 45 part or the whole? 45 would be the part, and it's that 60%. So that's one of my 20, 40, 60, 80, 100 models. So that's here is a fifth. So we have 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. You can also 60%, 20, 40, 60% is 3/5. 3/5 is also 6/10, which is where we get our 60% from. Again, the more we draw these models, the more you'll be able to visualize and see. 60%'s a little more than half. You'll see all kinds of things from these models. I can't stress these models enough. So again, we're looking for the total. What number is 45 is 60% of what total? So 60% is this part right here because 20, 40, 60, that's 45. So in order to find our total, we need to know what goes in each box. Hopefully you can figure out how to get the numbers in each of those boxes once you have this part to problem solve. For number 3, 63 is 35% of what number? These are all in the same manner, so hopefully immediately you are understanding, oh, 63 is a part of a number that we need to find. Since I'm looking for 35%, I need to do my 20 model. So I'm going to do 2 bars like this and then 9 down to make 2 rows of 10 boxes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Remember, if you misjudge, you can just add on to the end there, or you can kind of mark out a box if you have extra space. So then our total is what we don't know. That's what we need to find. In order to figure out 35%, well, this is 5% each. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. You can either look at it as this part, or some of you prefer 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, and look at it as this part. It doesn't really matter as long as you're looking at 7 of the boxes. 7 of the boxes equal 63. because that's 35%. So for my purposes, I'm just going to use this right here. And then I might just color code so that I know that 63 needs to be split between those 7 boxes. And once I know what's in one box, I can problem solve to find the rest. Number 4, 42 is 70% of what number? If I need to model for 70%, that's going to be my 10 block model. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then I know 42 is the same as 70%. That's going to be 7 of these boxes again, because each of them is worth 10%. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 is 42. So if that whole section right there is 42, what is each of these boxes? And then what would be in here to get me my total? I wish I would have done some of them like this, so let's add these over here. What is 25% of 80? Now this one's a little different because now it's 25%. What is 25%? So now I'm looking for the part, and they give us 80, which is our total. So again, 25%, that's 1/4. So we use our 4th model. We know it's 80 here, and my answer is going to be what's in this box here because that's 25%. So now I have 80, which is the entire thing, that I need to split between these 4 boxes. So 80 split between 4 boxes is 20. Again, I can check that 20, 40, 60, 80, okay? 25% would be one of those boxes. So that, therefore, 20 is that part that I'm looking for, 25% of that 80. What if it was, what is 60% of $35? So again, that 60% is 3/5. So I use my 5ths model, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know that 35's in here. I need 60%, so 20, 40, 60. I need these 3 boxes. That's going to be my answer. First, I need to figure out what goes in each of the boxes, and you should be able to problem solve that on your own because it's just like the tape diagrams we've always done. And so that's when they give you the whole and they want a part. All right, let's move into some that give us some context. So the Chiefs ran for 300 yards in a game. Patrick Mahomes had 30% of the yards. So then the question is, how many yards did Patrick Mahomes have? So let's write our answer statement. Patrick Mahomes had blank yards. So again, I ask myself, am I looking for all of the yards or a part of the yards? Well, in this case, since I'm looking for Patrick Mahomes, and Patrick Mahomes had 30%, I know that's part of the yards. What else do I know? I know that they ran for 300 yards, and 300 yards would be the total amount of yards that they ran for. So always analyzing that part and that whole. So how can I make a model for this? Well, if I need 30%, which model would best show me 30%? It would be my tens model. So what are we talking about? We're talking about running yards. Take some notes. And then I would just draw my, here's all of their yards. What do I know about all of their yards? I know that it's 300 because that's the total. What part of the yards am I looking for? 30%. So to see 30%, I'm going to break it into the tens model. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I need 30% of them. That's 10, 20, 30. So I need this part right here. So in order to figure out what that part is, because that's going to be Patrick's yards, I need to figure out what's in each of these boxes. You should be able to, again, problem solve on your own to find those. Then there's a challenge options. How many yards did the rest of the team run for? Can you figure that out from our model? Let's look at number 2. Number 2 says there were 560 students at SPE one year. 75% of them rode a bus to school. How many kids rode a bus? So our answer statement would be blank kids rode a bus. So how can I draw this? What do I know? 560 students at SPE one year. Is that our part or our whole? 560 is the whole amount of students. What am I looking for? I'm looking for 75% of them. Is that a part or a whole? That's a part. So when I draw my model, which one would be best to show 75%? That would be our fourths model, because 75% is 3/4. So what do I know? Whoops, we should have taken notes. These are SPE, these are students. What do I know? I know there was a total of 560. So that's our total area. What part am I looking for? I'm looking for 75%. So that's 25, 50, 75%. That's this part right here. What do I know about that part? That's our bus riders. So in order to figure out our bus riders, we need to know what goes in each of these, and then we should be able to find our total for those 3 sections, for that part of the student body. Again, I hope you go back and solve these so you can get those answers. And then again, see if you can solve how many kids were car riders. Let's look at number 3. I want new Air Jordan shoes. They cost $140. I found a sale on Amazon that they were 45% off. How much is the sale? So answer statement, the sale. So maybe that question isn't worded very well. How much is the sale? How much money off are the shoes? So we would say the shoes are blank dollars off. So am I looking for a part or the whole? Well, the part that is off is what I'm looking for. So that's a part. So when I go to draw my model, who or what are we talking about? We're talking about shoes. What do we know about the shoes? We know that they cost $140. Is that $140 the total or a part? That would be the total. So when I draw this, I can immediately say they equal $140. But then I found a sale on Amazon that they were 45% off. So 45% off is the part that I'm looking for. What model would be best for 45? That's going to be my 20 model, because it ends in a 5 and it's not 25 or 75. So I like to do my 20s with 2 bars like this and then 10 rows. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I ran out of room here, so I just draw 2 more on there. I can adjust that if I need to. So 45% is what I'm looking at. Each of these is worth 5%. So I have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. So I need this section is my percent off. That's the part that I'm looking for. In order to figure out that section, I need to know how much is in each of these boxes. You should be able to problem solve that and figure that out on your own. I'm going to let you do number 4 on your own. See if you can make the model and solve that all on your own. And we're going to go to number 5 here. And actually, I'm going to go to a second video so you can click on the second video now.